Okay, same thing as yesterday, but I made a little bit shorter assignment, but we can still get some good practice now. I'm also going to show you something you can use on your phone, okay? But I only want it used for this one thing. I do not want you just snapping the picture of the equation and writing the answers down. That's not going to cut it, okay? Only one thing, okay? And I'll be able to tell if there's no work shown for it, okay? It's pretty obvious, sorry, okay? Negative 16x to the second power plus 80x. What I'm going to do is I'm going to at least set the table for all these so I know there's two answers because the x variable is to the power of 2. But since I also have an x variable that would be to the power of 1, we can't separate like terms. It's not possible with an x squared and x. So I need to make sure I have the 0, and then I'm going to circle the negative. Okay, the next one, again, x to the second. You also have x to the first, so make sure you have 0. Don't need to circle the negative. Okay, this one again, I'd put a 1 here. It's good to cover all those. Two answers. 0's there, there's no negative. Two answers. Now I've got x to the second and x to the first, so I don't see 0, so I need to add 15x. But that can't be added to 30x to the second. X to the second and x are not like terms. So what I'm going to do then is put plus 15x in reject land, okay? So equals, now we have our 0. And now I've got 30x to the second plus 15x. Okay, pause the video, pause it, and then go set those all up. Put the fact you have two answers. You need to see the 0. If you don't have it, you need to fix that problem, and then circle the negatives. And resume the video when you have that done. Okay, so now I'm ready to set up my factoring box. Okay, so first I do the GCF. And I always like to put equals 0 here is probably better because this still stays equal to 0. It's this side that I'm changing. So GCF. Now first thing we had is a negative circled, so we have to make that negative. That's something you can't forget. Okay, now I underline the big guys, and I see that they both have x. Okay, so I put x. And then the next part is what you can use your computer for, or your phone. You need to Google search GCF calculator right there, okay? And then do the first one. It's like calculator soup, okay? So I click on that. And then the two big numbers are 16 and 80. So I go here and I put 16, comma, 80, okay? And I click calculate, and the GCF equals 16, okay? Now, if your phone, you either don't have a phone or you do, but it doesn't connect to the internet, you do it the old way. You take the smaller number and then split it into all its factors. 116, 28, 3 is a decimal, and then I get twin factors of 4. Okay, so then on my calculator, I see if 16 divides by 16. Well, that's 1, and then 64 has to divide by 16. 80 needs to divide by 16, and if you go to your calculator, you will find that 80 divided by 16 is 5. So that's why I use 16, okay? So I'm going to factor out negative 16x. And then if I have that out there, I need to go put that under both lines I've created. So negative 16 divided by negative 16 is positive 1, and x to the second power divided by x is always x. Okay, then I take positive 80 divided by negative 16, and that's negative 5. So I'm going to write minus 5, okay? And those can be crossed out. Okay, now what I've done is I've broken this into two mini factors, f1 and f2. So the f1, negative 16 times x can equal 0, or f2, 1 times x minus 5 can equal 0. So I box him up, I divide by negative 16, and that equals 0. And then I need to plus 5 and plus 5, so 1x equals 5. I don't need to divide by 1. 5's the other solution. Okay, 21x a second minus 28x. So again, I'm set up for the factoring. So 0, and then I break this into a line times a parentheses. So GCF. Underline both those. Okay. And we got x on both of them, so I put x. I do not have a negative in front, though, so that's why I did not put a negative like I did on the first one. So 21 and 28, okay? Again, 21, 28. So the GCF equals 7, okay? Again, if you do not have the benefit of that on your calculator, you're going to have to take the smaller of the two numbers and split it into its factors. So 21 divided by 1 is 21. 21 divided by 2 is a decimal, so I don't write that. 21 divided by 3 is 7, so I put 3 and 7. 21 divided by 4 is a decimal. 21 divided by 5 is a decimal. 21 divided by 6 is a decimal. And then I'm back to 7. So 21 divided by 21 is 1, but 28 divided by 21 is a decimal, so 21 is not the GCF. Now we pick 7. 21 divided by 7 is 3. 28 divided by 7 is 4, so I did not get a decimal, so 7 works. That's why we have 7. That's why that told me 7. So 7x. So I take 21 divided by 7 is 3. That's x. Negative 28 divided by 7 is negative 4. So I put minus 4. And these identical x's cancel. When you divide identical factors, they cancel. So that would be no different. Okay. So that's F1 and that's F2. So F1, 7 times x can equal 0, or F2, 3 times x minus 4 can equal 0. So I divide by 7, and I get 0. And I add 4 to both sides, so I have 3 times x equals 4, and then I'm going to divide by 3. And 4 over 3, okay? Okay, my next problem. Set up that box, and then we're going to break that up. Okay, so GCF. I do not have a negative in front, so we don't put negative. I underline both the big guys, and they both contain x, so I put x. Then 1 and 6, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'll punch in 1, 6, okay? Well, the GCF's 1, okay? Now, if you don't have that, okay, your smallest number is a 1, and the only factor is 1. Well, 1 divided by 1 is 1. 6 divided by 1 is 6. There were no decimals there, so I use 1. So 1x pops out of here. So I take 1 divided by 1, which is 1. X is second divided by x is x. Then I take negative 6 divided by 1. That's negative 6. So I put minus 6. And cancel them x's there because they're identical. Okay. So 1x times 1x minus 6 equals 0. So 1x is F1, 1x minus 6 is F2. So 1x can equal 0, or 1x minus 6 equals 0. So we can divide out 1, and x is 0. and then I plus 6, I plus 6, so I have 1x equals 6, and that means 6, okay? Okay, 30x a second plus 15x equals 0. Now that I have 0, I'm ready to attack this and break it apart. GCF, do I have a negative in the, did I circle negative? No, I did not, okay? Underline the big dogs, and we got x on both, so you're going to have a variable x that comes out. And again, 30 and 15. So 30, comma, 15. Okay, it says the GCF is equal to 15, so 15 with the x. Okay, again, if we don't have the calculator, if we don't have that GCF calculator or access to it on the phone, we're going to take 15 and split it into all of its factors. So 15 divided by 1 is 15. 15 divided by 2 is a decimal. 15 divided by 3 is 5. And then 15 divided by 4 is a decimal, so don't write 4 down. And then I'm just back to 5, which I already have. Okay, now take your calculator if you have to, see if 30 divides by 15. Yeah, it's 2. Does 15 divide by 15? Yeah, it's 1. So I need to use 15, and that's why it says 15x. So 15x pops out of there, and then 15x, 15x. So 30 divided by 15 is 2 with an x connected to it. Positive 15 divided by 15 is positive 1, so plus 1, and those can cancel. Okay, so I've got F1 and F2. Okay, so 15 times x can equal 0, or 2 times x plus 1 can equal 0. So I divide by 15 and I get 0. I subtract 1 from both sides, and 2x, 0 minus 1 is negative 1, and then divide by 2. So that is, it's not negative 2, okay? When the 1's on top, we're just going to leave it in fraction form. Okay, guys, so I was saying on that. Hope it's been informative.